Objective: after listening to this module, you'll be able to describe some steps to problem solving. Creative problem solving. The following excerpts are taken from a newspaper called the New Straits Times and illustrate the importance of creative thinking. A filmmaker remarked in 1920, "When a century has passed, all thoughts of our so-called speaking movies will be abandoned, and it will never be possible to synchronize with the picture." Similarly, the horseless carriage was predicted to be a luxury for the wealthy only. The very first step on the model of stress is a stressor. As I mentioned in a previous module, some are self-induced and some are not. Obviously, recognizing stressors or aspects of stressors over which you do have control and those over which you do not have control is important. But learning to decrease or even eliminate those stressors over which you do have control is incredibly important because it stops the stress response immediately. If you take care of the stressor, then you just intercepted the stress response. Creative problem solving is an important skill in terms of nipping your stressors in the bud. Steps to problem solving. Take a look at some steps to problem solving suggested here. What is distressing you? What are you willing to do about it? How are you handling it now? What are you going to do about it? How have you put your plan into action? What results can you see? There are a ton of different models or steps that have been proposed as part of creative problem solving, but creative problem solving basically requires that you simply do a stressor inventory or take a look at your stressors, analyze them, and brainstorm ways to get rid of the stressors. Some stressors are easily nipped in the bud, like setting an alarm clock earlier than normal if you're always running late. However, other stressors are more complicated and might require some brainstorming. Being creative when attempting to solve personal problems or stressors is sometimes necessary. Unfortunately, most people don't habitually think creatively because the emphasis in our society has largely been on logical thinking. Creative thinking is not the opposite of logical thinking. In fact, they complement each other. For example, a man had lent a friend $5,000 and was worried he would not get his money back, as his friend was in the habit of conveniently forgetting what he owed others. Therefore, the man needed something in writing in case his worst fears came true. An obvious solution was to ask his friend for an IOU note. However, the friend might get offended and not cooperate. He thought about his problem and came up with several possible solutions, the most creative of which was to email his friend claiming a debt of $10,000, which he immediately received a reply back protesting the sum owed was only $5,000. It was a quick and effective solution. By replying and correcting the error, the man was able to get something in writing. Here's another example of creative problem solving. A school principal was alerted by the custodian to a persistent problem in the girls' bathroom. Some of the girls were leaving lipstick kisses on the mirrors. The custodian had left notices on the walls asking for them to stop, but to no avail. Every evening the custodian would wipe away the kisses, and the next day, lots more kisses would be planted on the mirror. The principal usually took a creative approach to problem solving, and so the next day, she asked a few of the girl representatives from each class to meet with her in the bathroom. "Thank you for coming," said the principal. "You will see there are several lipstick kisses on the mirrors in the bathroom." Some of the girls grinned at each other. At this point, the custodian stepped forward with a sponge squeegee, which he took into one of the toilet stalls, dipped into the toilet bowl, and then used to clean one of the lipstick-covered mirrors. The custodian smiles. The girls departed, and there were no more lipstick kisses on the mirrors. Key points. Creative problem solving is a super simple but effective coping technique that involves such steps as identifying your stressors, what you're willing to do about them, how you're handling them now, what your plan is to deal with them, etc. It simply requires you to think about what you can do to decrease or eliminate your stressors. And that's it.